All right. You know the plan?
I got it.
This isn't just some walk in the park for us, all right? If this goes wrong, that's the end of us. You know that.
I know.
When we finally get in there, we need to get in, get what we came for, and get out. There's a million ways this can go wrong if we lose focus. I've seen this go down wrong before. People get hurt. We don't want to get hurt.
I know. You're right. I can do this. I promise.
All right. Let's go.
Hi, we're Waverley Knobs.
I'm Alex.
I'm Tatiana.
And I'm Evan. And we'd like to thank MobileMovieMaking for having us here today for the interview. With Waverley Knobs, we actually started off as just a bunch of creative individuals, especially myself and Tatiana. And we had experience in the past with doing, corporate video and film, whether it was acting or filmmaking, being behind the camera. We decided, let's create our own project, which was Paper Thin, which was released actually earlier this year. And we loved it. We loved the full process from the marketing to the filmmaking to everything else. We decided, let's create a company out of this. And from that, we've actually branched out into also doing B2B services. So taking that kind of cinematic edge, that filmmaking ability, and putting it into brand entertainment to really help tell a company's story, to help show their brand and what they do and what makes them unique.
It was all mostly self-taught because we were just really passionate about how do you tell a story visually, and we certainly had watched a lot of movies ourselves, and you kind of start to eat up all the backstories, and you watch the behind the scenes, and you kind of, the rest of it can also be a little bit trial and error. We worked on a lot of different projects. We were on a lot of different movie sets between, as actors or crew members. You figure out what works and what doesn't. You keep what's good. You ask questions. You watch a lot of things online. Luckily for us, on the internet, you can pretty much find anything you want. You have a question, you put it in Google, and you find a YouTube tutorial on it.
The idea for the heist kind of stems from a love for movies. I've always been a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino movies especially, and in most of his movies there's always a trunk shot. And so me and Evan were sitting down one day, we were trying to come up with something for Black Friday, for the holiday shopping that was coming up. How can we make this work? And my only stipulation was I want there to be a trunk scene in it. And literally it was from that, it just kind of like evolved, the ball started rolling, and we came up with the heist.
And we have actually thought about extending it into a full length. We originally thought of it specifically as just a short, quick, entertaining, and just kind of still a challenge to us, so that would push our boundaries and see what we could do with our resources. But we have really thought about extending it into maybe a web series or just several kind of short films, or even maybe even a feature length, depending. But we loved our experience doing it. We have fantastic actors. Both Chris Chiampa and Ben Lewin were fabulous to work with. They had such energy and such good chemistry working together that it would be silly not to. So we're hoping to see what we can do in the future for it.
I like to collaborate with like-minded individuals. So we worked with another screenwriter, Nathan Ilsley. It was nice to be able to bounce ideas off of him back and forth to try to turn this idea into a script. And me and him kind of quickly came up with a short little script trying to stick with this whole idea of a heist, how to turn holiday shopping into more of like a crime film, or like, a bank robbery, so to speak. The script didn't take long. We turned it over to a cinematographer for the storyboarding.
As soon as I read the script, I had visuals in my head like that. It was really, really tight script, as the kids say nowadays. So I quickly went through online, looked at a bunch of images, kind of put together a packet of photos that I thought that we should emulate, but also just the angles and the shots that we were looking for. Went through the script, broke it down shot by shot, maybe line by line, depending on what was needed, and really just drew it out for them, which also helps in our planning stages for the actual shooting schedule, because now we know, okay, we need 5 angles of this one scene, that sort of thing. So that was really fun too, just kind of going through with the screenwriters on that aspect, just to kind of see and make sure that my visual vision matched up with their story vision as well.
So of course, with with any good story, and once you storyboard it out, you have to find a location. You have to figure out, okay, what's going to be perfect, what's going to fit with the visuals built into the director's head and the cinematographer's head, and what the writers originally had in mind. It's like, okay, well, where do we find this? As soon as I read the script, as soon as I saw the shots that Tatiana was thinking of, I was like, perfect. Like, I know a mall, actually. There's a parking lot there. It's enormous, and we can utilize it, and it's going to give us some great things, such as some natural lighting just from the overhead parking lights. We're going to get some nice silhouette effects, and we're going to get some nice shadows and things wrapping around the individuals to really give it a more ominous type of feel.
So as Evan mentioned, we did need to shoot in kind of shady, dark places for our heist. We also want to take advantage of the low light ability of the camera, of the phone as well, and to kind of showcase, hey, not only is this a great phone to do a film with, but we're all doing it at night too. So we did get lucky with this gorgeous giant street lamp, or I guess parking lot lamp, and we parked right underneath it, so that provided a lot of our light, certainly outside of the car. Inside the car, of course, it was a little bit of a challenge. The lights actually from the car itself on the top weren't very powerful, so we actually did have to improvise. We added a little modeling light, a little best core light right up there at the top. And then there were other challenges when we changed angles, of course, because there was no lights coming from behind the camera, and so when our actors in another scene had to kind of move their head that way, we actually used the same phone. Another production crew member had the same phone on set, and we used that to actually light part of his face, just so the audience could actually see what's going on in that scene as well. So a lot of the light, again, was provided by that kind of one ambient lamp at the top there, and then after that we just sort of had to improvise with our phones and a small modeling light, but otherwise it's what you see is pretty much what was on set. So the reason we decided to shoot on a smartphone is because I got a new smartphone. I had seen a lot of the marketing for it previously, saying that their camera was really amazing, it's really made for video, for filmmakers, and everything like that. I was really excited to get my hands on it. And as soon as I did, I realized that it had a lot of the features that a DSLR has. You can adjust ISO and the lens and how much light is coming in and what you're focusing on, which is key because you can't really do that on most smartphone cameras. So we decided to take it for a film test drive, and it was great. It looked even better than I had imagined. We're always pushing the boundaries at Waverley Knobs, and we always like to do fun little creative things, and that's how you learn, right? You say, I don't know how to do this, let me see how it works out. So we decided, hey, let's make a short film on a phone. There's definitely certain films that were shot on the iPhone that went and won film festivals, so we decided let's try out a little Android phone that just came out from LG V10. It turned out to be a blast. So as you might imagine, the most valuable gear that you could have when you are filming with a smartphone is a selfie wand, and it's used primarily in the same way that you would use it for a selfie, except now you're using the camera in the rear. It acted as a great stabilizer. There's not really a lot of stabilizers out there for smartphones currently. So, we just needed something where we could get in up close, we could follow the characters, we could get inside the car with it as well. So the selfie wand, it was just a perfect choice.
You could probably already imagine the visual of this. You have some random people walking around with a phone, some shady characters, in a mall parking lot where it's very kind of dark and shadowy, and you have a cop car not far away. And then now you pull out a ladder and you put the 6'4" guy again back on top of that ladder trying to shoot the car. And with that, it was difficult in the sense that there was no closed set. So legitimately, it was normal hours, things were running. I mean, people, again, it was after the hours of the actual mall, but you still got people finishing up their shopping or leaving from restaurants around the area, or even the employees finally starting to head out. One of the challenges was trying to deal with, okay, did we capture any headlights or brake lights or tail lights when a car drove by or in the general vicinity? So it was a lot of just kind of like, making sure and really analyzing the video that we had captured to make sure that none of that leaked through. Other than that, it was just the cold. We had picked somehow one of the coldest nights to film this, every night before and every night after this one night, it was perfectly warm and nice out and temperate, but this one specific night just decided to drop drastically on us, and so we're all like shaking and hovering around each other or trying to get in the car that's part of the heist film and hiding out in the back seat or something to try to keep warm. Working with a great script with some great visuals in it, and we had two fantastic actors, again, Chris and Ben. I just wanted them to have fun. I mean, that was the biggest thing, was get to know each other, get to talk with one another, and really just figure out why are we here as characters, what has brought these two characters together, and what is really driving them to do what they're doing in this piece. Honestly, a lot of these takes were like just one takes after one take after one take, just because they were nailing it. It was just great. They understood the lines, they were very comfortable with the lines and just with each other.
For the editing software, we used Premiere Pro, thank you Adobe, After Effects, thank you Adobe, and SpeedGrade, thank you Adobe. And we didn't really have a lot of challenges because we did a really good job of planning everything out. We had our storyboard all set, our shot list, everything. We just basically plopping it into place and taking the best take and just making sure that all the lighting and everything looked good. The music was pretty easy. As soon as I read the script, I saw it and I heard it. And I know that when we had initially talked about what kind of music we wanted, Evan had chosen some music initially, and then we realized that we had to find some maybe royalty-free music or something where we wouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg because we're not making any money off of this, and we just wanted to do a fun creative short. But we also wanted to give exposure to either a local composer or somebody who nobody had heard of before. So we actually browsed through, or I browsed through the YouTube, was it like the free music source audio library. Came across these three pieces that were just perfect. It was literally like the composer was in my mind and pulled out the pieces and put them together. So that was really amazing. It was a great find. And I remember putting them, in the rough cut, showing them to Evan. And Evan, of course, had listened to the other music previously and he was not prepared. And his first reaction was, whoa, what is this? I'm like, just listen to it, just keep an open mind. I swear this will work. That's what you hear in the final piece.
So some advice for first-time filmmakers. Number one, I think, would be making a plan. Going from script to storyboard to shot list all the way through. Don't skip the steps. It's going to make the whole process easier. Number two, being able to roll with the punches. There's anything that could happen, from technical issues with the equipment, from the location, from the people you're working with, from the script itself. You never know what's going to go wrong. Don't be afraid to roll with those punches as they come. And also, surrounding yourself with like-minded people. I think that's what made this whole process easier, was just the fact that, coming up with the concept, sharing it with these folks, anyone else involved, everyone was just on board. And we all were able to bounce ideas off each other, and it evolved into something even better, from start to finish.
As for the next project, we've actually had a lot of things going on just in this year. About 2.5 years ago, we actually started filming Paper Thin, and it took a long time in post-production to try to figure out what we're doing and where we were going with it and everything. So we finally actually just released it this January, this past January in 2015. And we were so excited about that, to finally get it out there and get people to see what we were working on and why we were working so long on it. So you can actually see that at paperthinfilm.com. You can get more information on that, as well as it's on VHX, vhx.tv. You can actually stream Paper Thin on there or buy it and download it directly. The other thing is, we're actually putting a film right now in the festival circuit called The Long Awake, which we're really, really excited about. It's kind of a Twilight Zone-esque sci-fi kind of feeling film, and it's really, really cool. And so that's actually going to be released ideally early next year in 2016. So we're very excited about that. And then also, of course, The Heist, which you can see on YouTube for free anytime. We have actually over 1.4 thousand viewers already that have seen it, and tons of likes on it and tons of feedback on it, people just enjoying the heck out of it. So we hope you check that out as well and enjoy it just as much as we enjoyed making it.
If you want more information about our company, check out our website, waverlyknobs.com. We're also on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Waverley Knobs. We also have a YouTube channel where you can check out the heist. It's youtube.com/WaverleyKnobsBoston. And with that, we'd like to thank MobileMovieMaking.com for this interview. We hope you enjoyed.